Today on Gamers Couch,
Roll for the Galaxy and some ambition for the Galaxy rolling.
welcome. Hello.
Hello.
Happy Sunday. Welcome to the couch. It's a new week. It's a new
Cheers.
game. It's a new coffee. We are talking about Roll for the Galaxy today, including the expansion, the ambition to roll for the Galaxy. And if you are new to the channel or to the series, first, welcome, like we already said, and let me introduce us. This is my sweetheart, my lovely husband Daniel, who's talking board games with me every Sunday. Otherwise, we don't communicate.
Yeah, we don't talk to each other at all.
At all.
We
It's
get
just
up on Sunday and it's just, I'm dying here. I need some
conversation, and we can only talk board games. Anyways, my name is Sarah, and I'm the artist behind Pinselgeschichten, and like I just said, we are talking board games, starting off with rules and gameplay, then going on to what we liked or not liked about the particular game on the couch, and then we finish with funny stories and experiences. And because he's such a great explainer of the world, why would he not be for the Galaxy? So, sweetheart, take it away. Tell us all about rules and gameplay for Roll for the Galaxy.
We are combining this for Roll for the Galaxy because we actually haven't talked about it yet. And to be honest, I picked up the Ambition expansion before I picked up the base game because someone recommended it to me from our friends and said you might like it. So that's the reason why we have this in two parts. But do not worry, I'm pretty sure that the person responsible for the YouTube shenanigans will put a time code down there so you can jump right into the Ambition rules if you want to. And I guess our talking about the game, spoiler, there's not that much difference between those two.
Yeah.
So in Roll for the Galaxy, how could it be different? You are rolling
roll your dice
for the Galaxy. You are trying to expand your galactic empire. You'll start out with a small planet or technology or these tiles. And there's two different kinds of tiles, either ones that have a little circle up here or ones that have a little diamond up here. These are worlds, diamonds are technologies. You try to excel at one, both, or whatever strikes your fancy, giving you different abilities. In general, one could say planets give you usually more dice or opportunities to score victory points, where technologies allow you to do more interesting things with your dice. So how does that work? You have a little dice cup with a token shake there, and you'll be rolling your dice behind this very secret standee, and then assign them to one of these 5 phases. Actually, yeah, I'm holding this right side up. I was just checking because on the other side it's never mind. So you roll your dice and you will find that these dice all have the corresponding icons of these different phases. And once you roll them, you at first just place every die under every phase. Then you may choose one of your dice, just one, not more, but it can be any dice, and place it on one of these phases. So even if you have the little rocket, you could put it on the explore icon, the eye icon. Doesn't matter what the phase is of the face of this die. After you've done that and potentially also moved the dice between different things, because that's where the development, the technology stuff comes in. It allows you to move dice to other areas, although their face is showing something different. In fact, you start on this tile with one of those abilities where you can kind of assign a die up here and move another one down here to another space. Once that's done, all the players will reveal their dice configuration. And the first thing you do is to check which of those phases everybody has selected. And that kind of determines what for this turn will happen. As I said, there are 5 different symbols on here. One for exploration, one for development, one for settlement, one for production, and one for shipping. And you can imagine those all affect the different ways you interact with the tiles. Now, if you selected exploration and let's say Sarah selected settlement, then those 2 phases are the only ones that occur, and all dice assigned to a phase that does not occur, well, back it goes to the cup, and you can try next round with those dice to do something interesting. Which already makes this game kind of a mind-reading game, because you try to figure out what the other players are going for, so you can assign your dice into something you typically want to do more than just one phase per turn. And speaking of the phases, let's just go quickly through them. The Explore phase lets you grab new planets and technologies. In fact, there's a huge bag of goodies.
Is it chocolate?
And you get to draw out these additional tiles. And yes, these are 2-sided, so always a planet on one side, a development on the other side, or technology on the other side. And then you get to play that onto your player board. So on these boards, and I'm kind of jumping through some of the stuff, but on these boards you keep your dice in your citizenship, so that's where they go once you use them up, and from here you can put them back into your cup, but you have to pay for them with credits. You'll always have 1 credit, so you technically always have at least 1 die per round. And on here you can place your newly discovered developments, or planets, or whatever you have, put it on the right side here, and then, unsurprisingly, in the develop and settlement phase, you can commit dice onto these things here. If you look closely, you can see there's a small number up here. This says 3, and on the other side as well, meaning you have to put 3 dice through the development or the settlement action, depending on if it's a planet or a technology, onto this to get it into play, and then you will benefit from the little bonuses that appear here. So for example, you have this green plague world, which gives you a green die into your cup. Or you could go for homeworld patriotism. You may reassign 1 or 2 white workers to the phase you select. So as I said, you get more powers that allow you to make more interesting assignments on these phases. Last but not least, you have the production and the shipment phases, which essentially allow you to place dice on any colored world. This doesn't work with gray worlds, unfortunately, as a so-called good. And depending on the color of the good, the color of the planet, and the color then later on used for... There's no shipping icon on this one.
Take the purple.
So if you then go to the shipment phase, you can, well, put these 2 from the planet back into your citizenship, and then you get points depending on how good or how not so good these colors match up. Essentially, if you're shipping from a green planet, that's worth 1 victory point. If you ship a green good from a green planet, that's worth 2 victory points. And here, now, go with me, what if the green tie would have a rocket on it, which it doesn't, but it has a little star, which is a wildcard on it. If you use a green die to ship a green die from a green world, that's 3 victory points. And that's how you kind of amass these little victory point tokens and try to come out with the most at the end of the game. There's some more, intricacies. So for example, in the explore phase, you can actually decide if you want to pull out one of these tiles from the bag, or just get some money, because you're kind of cartographing the galaxy, I guess, and get money for that. As well as the shipment action allows you not only to ship for victory points, but you could ship the goods for money again, and then the color of the homeworld is actually telling you how much worth that is. And because that is fairly difficult to remember, also as you've seen, I already forgot which face was on the die. You get a handy reference sheet on the back of your screen showing you which dice are available, what their faces are, and these are the different phases. And probably that all sounds the same for you with my Germano English. It's all faces to me, so whatever. So you have everything you need in here. So the only thing that really kind of spices up the game is you not knowing what the other players are going to choose and if the dice that you selected are actually coming to pass. So let's say you want to go with an explore phase to grab a new tile because you kind of develop everything or are not happy with what you've got and want to replace it with something else. And then also want already to commit some workers to settle that world, and then someone else picks not the settlement phase, and then those dice go back, and you have to try again next turn. The game will end as soon as you have 12, as one player has 12 of these developments out, and the starting 3, so this double-sided tile and the single-sided tile, which actually have no backside, count as 3 already. So you just need to either develop or settle 9 more worlds/technologies, or if all of the victory points are gone, and that number is dependent on how many players are playing the game. And that's Roll for the Galaxy, at least as far as the base game is concerned.
Yeah. So there will be a time mark now. And now we go into the rules for the ambition and then talk about...
Welcome. You either have been ambitious and clicked on the link below, or you just stayed with us, in which case I'm sorry. The Ambition expansion adds a few new things. I guess most prominently 2 new types of dice, the orange and the black dice, and in fact you already start with a black die, which introduce a new kind of, die faces, because those have 2 icons on each side. So for example, this orange die here shows you a shipment and a production icon, and after you've rolled, you can assign them to either phase, or if you assign them, let's say, to the production phase, but that doesn't happen, but instead the shipment phase happens, then it automatically moves over to the other phase, so you kind of have a bigger chance at triggering whatever stuff it's doing. The other opportunity, or the other thing that's on here, is the little dollar icon. So in this case, it's a shipment symbol plus a dollar icon, meaning if you use this die to ship something and are successfully have completed that, then this die won't go back into your citizenry, but instead go back into your COP, kind of giving you a free dollar, I guess, space bucks to do that. These dice are essentially the same. I dropped the dice with some minor differences. The black one has a wild card on, and the phases are a little bit different, but they're pretty much the same. For one other thing that's different, the orange die also does not match any color. So if you want to use that as a space good, you're out of luck. That's 1 victory point less for you. The black die, however, matches every color, so it's like the purple or violet die, or whatever you want to call it, and can be used to ship any colored good or be any colored good and count as a victory point for that thing. What else is new there? Well, the expansion comes with 5. Actually, yes. Let me double check that. It comes with 5 more game tiles, which seems a little bit, not that much. It comes with 14 more of those starting tiles and 7 more of these small homeworld tiles, which just gives you more variety. I wouldn't go so well. That's already going into talking about what I think about the game. But there's no big difference about these than what you find in the core set, kind of. The other big thing introduced here are objectives, which can be put out or it's actually, I think it's optional to put them out, but you can have like 6 of these out, and then those give you additional ways to score some points or to get some wildcard dice. So, for example, it will say military expansion, settle. 5 military red dice are used to complete words in a single phase, and if you do that, you get 5 of these nondescript die / victory point tokens. And once you've thrown that into your coffee, that means that this gets turned over like this and nobody else can use it. However, if you and someone else is using this thing at the same time, both of you get the benefit that is always marked up here. And there's different ones. This one, as I said, is worth 5 of these tokens. This just gives you 2, but it's, well, easier to achieve. You just need to build or settle a world that has a rank of 5, and as you can see, all of these are quite varied. Some go for you need those dice in your empire, you need to complete a specific thing, or you must have technologies in all phases. The nice thing is that the wording on this is already a bit more generic, so don't always go by the picture on here, because that would allow them to be used with future expansions that might introduce different planet colors, for example. So what can you do with these little chits of victory and dice? Well, you can either use them as a wildcard die in your, phase assignment and just cash that in to do something interesting. And no, you don't have to roll them. Or you just keep them until the end of the game, and then each of those is worth 1 victory point. Sounds simple. It is simple. It is not that difficult to get things rolling, no pun intended. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the expansion.
Well done.
Very ambitious expansion.
Wonderful. So let's hop on right into the next section then, likes and dislikes. And if you don't mind, you can have your coffee and I'll start. Or do you want to keep going? Are you in the chatty hour?
I wanna drink my coffee and start. No. Please go ahead.
Nobody can understand you, and I can't type subtitles that quickly. Anyways, so what do I think about the game? So, first of all, it's a dice game. So, yay! Awesome. That's great. Opening the box and boxes, and getting everything punched out and prepped for the first game. I noticed it's very high quality when it comes to these cardboard pieces and also the dice. There's even this, it's just for people like me who like nice little sweet things. The counter for your credits is not just a meeple, it's a goddamn astronaut meeple, and it's totally...
It's this guy.
Yeah.
Floating in space.
Yeah, so... They made an effort. Tops there.
Or a turtle.
Or a turtle.
With a spoiler.
Dinosaur turtle. Depending on how you want to put it. So I just really liked it. It's a goofy thing. So I always enjoy these kind of things when opening up a game. Again, the dice are beautifully done. They have very good print. They're pretty small, but since you roll them in a cup, it's actually perfect. Would you have rolled them by hand only, I would have said, it's a bit too tiny, but since it's in a cup, tops. Other production quality is also done very nicely. The bag also comes with the base game, so it's just all in all quite thoughtful how they put the stuff together.
Look at this big bag.
Yeah.
You
can fit a duck in there.
You can kidnap someone with this thing.
Yeah, but I really like it that this is thoughtful and they made an effort. So awesome there. The insert is not too spectacular, but it works nicely enough since you have very sturdy components. You don't need to have all the little tiny separate spaces in the box, so it's all good. And another cool thing is that once you have the
that's the ambition box.
So. Once you have the expansion played and you really like it, you just can put it into the base game. It fits nicely. It's pretty much like it was already prepped. Now, coming to the gameplay itself, I really enjoyed it. First, when he explained the game to me, I was like, oh, this is one of these games where you have like tons of options and you need to take a long time to really, well, think about things, what you can do. But again, just like with many of these games, yes, you have a ton of options, but you're very limited by the roll of your dice, so it's not overwhelming at all. It's rather very simple, very smooth, very fast, and you're hardly ever stuck. Since you always have one credit at least, that means you have at least one dice in your cup, and you can activate the phase that you want with any phase. Activate. So you're not really stuck. You might be quite a bit slower than other players if you're not lucky with the way you roll or just the amount of credits that you have, but you're never stuck, and I really like that about this game. Also, I do like the worlds quite a bit. If you really draw lucky, you can really have a great empire there, fitting together with the colors and giving you the right amount of, or the right colors of dice. So it's quite a bit luck based on that department. But once in a while you really are just very lucky drawing the starting tile and you get a lot of credits in the beginning, or some other thing that really helps you out with maybe the way you roll that day. So I just really like the diversity of the worlds versus the technologies. They're very different in what they do, and you can really just pick and choose what you want to go for. If you want to build technologies, or if you want to build worlds, or whatever. So I just really like it. Coming to the expansion, I'm very fond of the black die. I didn't play too much with the orange die yet.
Why?
Because first of all, you start with it in your cup. Mm-hmm. So it
replaces one of the white dice,
and it has the chance to come back right away, and it has a wild card on it. So it's two cool things about that black dice that I really, really like when you have it at the beginning of your game. I felt like the game started a bit quicker.
One of the reasons I actually like the black dice because it's kind of accounted for every color and shipping.
Yeah, I didn't
quite
really
useful in the end game.
In the end game, but I really like its impact at the beginning of the game. I'm okay with the
leader die.
Yeah, I'm okay with the orange die, but I only had it in the last game, so can only say so much about it. I also like the new worlds and technologies that come with the expansion, but I'm not too fond of the objectives. They're, nice, but they're not the thing that draws me to the expansion. That would be the black die. That draws me to the expansion. But the rest is, it's cool, it's nice to have, but it doesn't really make me like the expansion more. So I'm wondering what they're going to do with the objectives maybe in later expansions. If something else comes up, I'm really interested to see that. But so far, they're cool, but they're not my favorite thing of the expansion. And all in all, that's,
Just to clarify, so roll for the galaxy.
But why do we always say, because of the Guardians of the Galaxy? That's why we always think of Roll
for the Galaxy is the dice version of Race for the Galaxy, which we have not played. Obviously, if you have experience with that game, my understanding is that this uses the artwork from Race for the Galaxy and shares some of the mechanics, as well as, for example, these objective things that now made their way into Roll for the Galaxy. But I wouldn't say it's not that I mind the objectives.
No.
I think they just they're either there or they're not there, and if they're there, then it's maybe
It
a
doesn't-
victory point
Yeah.
more or less at the end of the game.
Yes, it's not. I would never adjust my strategy to the objectives. If I get one completed along the way, nice, but not a must-have, I think.
Yeah, I'd say I'll agree with really enjoying the base game, so that was a pretty cool tip for us to pick up. I also really like that this plays up to 5, at least in theory. We haven't played it with 5 yet, but this works as I'd say as a little bit more involved two-player game as well as a kind of bigger group game. Although this game is over pretty fast, it has some really interesting decisions some meat to it when while playing. And I really like the you get something thrown at you and then you have to roll with it. No pun intended, but the starting tile combination that in theory you could try to have a strategy and go with that one. Like, I want to win through shipping goods and production, or I want to win by developing a lot of tech or a lot of planets and get just more dice and so on. But not really, because that really depends on, first of all, what your starting tiles are, also what are different things you will explore. You can nudge it in one direction or another, but you kind of have to play with what you're getting out of the game. And I like games that make you do that kind of, this is the situation that you're in now, try to make the best out of it and go with it. And for that reason, tying into the expansion, that's why the objectives weren't that impressive to me. It is. I'm pretty sure we had 2 or 3 times where we forgot to actually score the objectives in because nobody was really paying attention anymore to those. So they're there, and if they're on the path to what you want to do or what you're trying to get out of the things you start with, that's great. But probably, I'd probably rather had seen a bit more worlds included in this in the expansion than the objectives when it comes to things that there's not much that I'm just thinking about if there's anything I really dislike about Wolf for the Galaxy in general, like the core set. And only if you really sometimes, and this is a dice game by that means, while it is not as random as you might think with the dice, since you have usually a lot of control about where the dice go with picking the one up that selects the phase and then trying to reassign dice, and the only thing that that at least screwed me over once was that I got really unlucky with the types of planets I drew out of the bag.
A lot of grey, right?
Where actually it's not like a lot of something. It's like a lot of nothing, because I had an empire that was so diffuse in what it's able to do. There's one red die here, then there's one technology that can reassign one die there, but nothing that really put me on a track to score victory points reliably. And at that point, it also would have been difficult for me to catch up in victory points because kind of your engines were already going full steam. So if there's a lesson for you, if you want to take over the galaxy, you better have all your ducks in a row, or in this case, it's just one.
Duck in the roll?
And try to go with the strategy and just
go in full.
Go tunnel vision and just go with that. But as I said, I that comes with you get something handed out and have to do the best with it, and I'm totally fine with that. Although I might complain once or twice in that situation, but
once in a while,
that's all right, because you still have the feeling, okay, I tried the best that I did, but it didn't work out.
Yeah.
The other thing the thing I like are the 2 new types of dice, the black one and the orange one, but I actually prefer the black one due to it being more flexible in the production thing. The thing I not so. Again, and this comes back to there's only 5 of these. Since those new dice only show up either, well, you start with them in case of the black die, or the orange dice, well, you can only get them either if you have one of the home worlds or the new double-sided starting technology things that give them to you, or you draw one of those 5 out of, now let me get this straight, 5 out of 60 game tiles. So it's 55 in the base game, 5 from the expansion, meaning that only 5 out of those 60 are actually able to give you these dice. And that's kind of, yeah. At least to me, it feels like there's these cool new dice, but chances are you're not gonna see them because there's not that many options to get them. I mean, you could go and kind of tip the odds and just say, hey, let's just take the starting stuff from the expansion, or but then again, that's the thing I like about the expansion. It gives you just a broader variety, which kind of goes with the point I had earlier, saying I like the you have to pick something and roll with it. Giving you more diverse starting points is a big plus for me, and I guess those starting tiles are kind of the main thing for me. Plus the 2 new dice in this expansion. As I totally agree with the objectives with you.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just something I. Meh.
Yeah. So let's rate. Shall we rate base and expansion separate or together, or how do you want to do this?
Brawl for the Galaxy core game gets from me 5 phases active out of 5. So it works on all cylinders there. I'd say the ambition expansion, if you play Roll for the Galaxy and really like it and don't mind to have a bit more Roll of the Galaxy, because that's essentially what ambition is, just go for it. I don't at all mind picking up the expansion before playing the base game, because this turned out to be a game we probably will play quite a bit, and this is almost on the verge of becoming a dinner game, because it can be played in a rather quick fashion with 2 players, which is a really big plus. We don't have that many games actually that are
fast with less than an hour with 2 players.
Can also keep a full group occupied with an interesting game. Yeah, that's kind of the sweet spot, which probably is just, well, it's just our subjective opinion anyway, but yeah,
that's what opinions are. Always subjective.
I'd say Roll for the Galaxy itself, try it, and if you like it, then you probably will like the Ambition expansion as well.
Yeah, on my personal scale from 1 to awesome, the base game is a solid awesome. It does everything I want and more, so totally great there. The Ambition expansion it's a 7. It does a lot of things with just the 2 dice, but it lacks a bit of things with the objectives and the few new world tiles. I'm very hopeful that the expansion, because it's called Ambition, is actually just the first step of maybe a bigger expansion where you can actually do something else with the objectives. So I will wait and see if something comes out in the future and the objectives make much more sense and much more of an impact on the game. So yeah, let's hop into the funny stories and sorry.
I got 1 or 2 things that I like as well. I totally forgot to mention them before. First of all, manual, really easy to understand and go with it. It's very text heavy, but for that reason, it's only a couple of pages. I also and that might be a weird quality for the Ambition expansion, but what I like about it is that it seamlessly can be put into the core game, and you don't have to worry at all about mixing things up. There's a couple of games
where you have to separate again.
You kind of want to keep the expansion separate, because maybe you're playing this game sometimes with people who haven't played it before, and just dumping the expansion on them is the only thing you would exclude here. Maybe are the objective tiles, and you could just play Roll for the Galaxy. And there's just more tiles, and there's no other.
There's just two more dice that are not too difficult to understand. So
I mean, they go so far. The expansion comes with little stickers that replace the die distribution and the starting setup. Kind of. So I guess they were fully aware of this and just said, well, you will throw this into the core game and do that.
Yeah.
And last but not least is theme and artwork. I have to say, while it is not as prominent in this game, yes, there are different planets here, there are different things and technologies, and you have usually a nicer picture on here. It is not that deeply super thematic. Although I have to say that for some of these, the combination of what the dice represent, for example, green is genetics and BioWare stuff, red dice are military forces. They did a pretty good job in distributing the faces on those dice to accurately mimic what those are supposed to be. Meaning, red dice are really good at settling planets, obtaining technologies, almost like either pirates or, just straight up your army to go over and take all the different worlds, which I appreciate. I mean, yes, this is a light dice rolling game, but the theme is light there, and that's what I mean with light. But there are ties in there; you can see them, and if for that matter, the artwork is fine. I mean, by itself, it's cool to look at. It looks like science fiction stuff, and I like my science fiction stuff. But if you look at the tile when it comes out, you kind of glance over the picture, and then the eye goes immediately of how much does this cost? What does this allow me to do? And how can I? What gear will this be in my engine to success for my galactic empire?
Yeah. So, are you ready for funny stories and experiences? So, last section. We played this game 7 times. I checked this morning on the list again.
And we picked this. I picked this up at Essen this year. So
now you can count how many evenings. Anyways, so we played it a couple of times, just the 2 of us, and then we played it a couple of times with 3 people. We had 2 games without the expansion, and from the 3rd game on, we had the expansion included, where the objectives only came in the last 2 games. So we had the dice, the black and orange die already thrown in there, all's good, but the objective tiles we just added for the last 2 games, and I didn't notice a difference there, like without the tiles, just having the dice. All in all, I think we always enjoyed ourselves. We had very, very excruciating moments of not rolling great, or just having 1 die and having to ship 4 goods and all that stuff. But I think we enjoyed ourselves all the time, right?
I wouldn't say that I have one clear cool story or something, but there were a couple of those games ended with a lot of tension building up, because I could see the victory points available kind of declined, and as I said earlier, the game ends if all are gone. So you kind of are like, okay, what are the other guys doing? Are they producing? Are they shipping? If they're shipping, what do they have on their boards? Is it enough to pick up the last victory points available? And then you go real deep thought on which phases am I going to play? if they're producing and shipping, maybe I get to do something else. Maybe I'm going to settle and try to also assign some guys so that I can ship. Am I able to ship before them? So there's some tie breaking in there, depending on what numbers are on your starting tiles, and those came in quite often actually. So
yeah, I just remember one round where you guys were really pissed off because there's one tile in there, one starting tile that I think is super powerful when you draw that, and that is the double tile where it says at the start of the game, instead of 1 credit, you get 8. So you have a lot of dice in your cup, like right away, the first maybe 3 rounds, which is super helpful. And I had like my cup full of dice, like the whole game, and you guys were having maybe 3 guys. And I was just building cheap planet after planet after planet after planet. You had 4 worlds and I had 12. Tina was somewhere in the middle. That was the one where you had really bad luck with the way you drew the planets.
But that's
and I thought this starting tab was just super powerful in comparison to others.
That's what I meant with you have to
roll with what you get.
What you're getting. In that case, that you were lucky to get the get 8 starting credits, and I mean honestly, that only lasts for 2 or 3 turns usually.
But if you make them count.
But if you're lucky and explore and find cheap planets or technologies and are lucky enough to roll with it, well, then you win.
I'm super lucky to have drawn it, but I found this particular tile so much more powerful than very many others.
I had it too and had not won with it.
Oh, you won pretty much all the other games. So I won.
Well, maybe I won.
I won maybe 2 rounds only. Tina had 1 or 2, I think. So you would have had 3 or 4 rounds. So
there's with 7 games, we certainly haven't seen all the tiles, but there's a couple of those that feel powerful. That 8 credits tile, I agree, feels powerful because it allows you to do a lot more at the start. Another one that I found really good was a tile that allows you to pay less, or actually to pay money to reduce the kind amount of workers needed to develop some things. Also really powerful, and it kind of goes on from there because every tile is powerful in a certain way. There are others that allow you to gain money for when specific phases occur, and having $2 each turn instead of just 1 actually is
making the difference.
One of the big difference at the mid to end game. I was lucky in one game where I got a whole bunch of planets of the same color that also gave me the dice, so I could really bring up my production shipment imperium. And I think I drained the victory points available in 2-3 turns, or something like that.
Super fast.
Because I was able to ship for 6 victory points each turn.
If I remember correctly, it was blue. Right? You had blue dice on blue
something like that,
planets, and then purple dice to ship, which also count as any color in the shipping phase. And it was like 2 or 3 rounds. It was a super quick game.
And actually, the win by victory games was, I think, more dominant than the win by 12.
We had, I think, tiles. 1 or 2 games where we had the 12 tiles game, but
I think
most of them were...
All the time was you who did that, right?
Yeah, and not on purpose. I just didn't draw the 6 plus.
But same for
tiles.
me. Same for me. The other way around. I actually thought, okay, I'd like to do one game where I try to go for 12, and it just didn't work out. I either got planets that were super expensive to settle, and yes, you can replace them with new ones exploring, but that loses you a lot of momentum because you then have to go out. And
another thing that I saw was you did get way more victory points because you were able to produce and ship. And I, in a lot of games, just had grey worlds. I couldn't produce, even if I had the production on my dice once in a while. It was only in the last game that I had 3 worlds where I could produce something. So that was a first for me. And there was one other thing. I had a starting tile from the expansion that said,
You win.
No, I did, but no. It's like, no, I was second. You won again. But it said that if you have an orange and a purple dice in your in your pool. Thank you. In your pool at the end of the settle phase, you would get a credit for each pair. So it could be 2 orange, 2 purple, or orange and purple mixed. And I had them just laying there in my pool and making money for me. So that was a cool tile, and it helped along with being able to settle bigger planets, like more expensive planets, way faster.
And I think I only had one game where I thought that my starting position was really weak with the tiles, and that's to the game's credit. I think that and that plays entirely into me liking the you get a different start that nudges you on a certain path, and then you have to work things out from there and get it going. And
did you realize any difference between 2 or 3 player game other than us not having to roll the dice?
It's taking a bit longer. Yeah, for the 2 player game, I forgot to mention you roll a die to kind of have a dummy third player for phase selection. I do like it with 3 and more a bit better because of the uncertainty. Kind of you have another element there that triggers phases and does stuff, drains victory points out of the pool, maybe grabs tiles from the bag that you actually wanted. In doing that, there's no direct player-to-player interaction, so that is the entire extent to what you're doing with other players. But I would say I guess 3 to 4 might be the sweet spot. The thing that I noticed is since we've played it way more often with
we're 2, faster.
You're getting really fast, and then you kind of I'm done. And players who played this for the first time, obviously, just need a little bit more. Okay, what do I want to do? But
also the same goes for depending on how many dice you have. The guys were having like 2 dice and had them settled really fast, and I had like 8 dice. And like, what am I gonna do now? So that takes longer as well.
Then again, at no instance of this, someone had sat down and
just
took like 5 minutes or something. No, it's just. It's those noticeable 5 to 10 seconds that you're sitting there with your thing in hand. And, okay, can I lift? Can we go now? I have an empire to manage, please.
I'm on a schedule here. Yeah, but all in all, I think it was always just a very lovely time that we had. We didn't really chat about other things while we were playing.
It's a quiet game, unlike.
I mean, it's noisy with the dice in the cup, but
it's like Dominion or other games where you kind of so laser focused on what's happening.
Yeah, but since it's like 45 minutes max that we played in around.
Actually, I'm checking. Yeah, it's 40. It also says 45 minutes and.
Yeah, I checked plus. With the cooking thing. We had just time for one more game until dinner was ready. But 45 minutes with not really chatting or having to engage with the other players. I wouldn't play that for 5 hours, but for 45, I think it's totally fine. So, anything to add, my dear, or shall we wrap up?
You can like this video on the YouTube. You can like this video on the Board Game Geek. You can share this video on your preferred social media channels, if that means writing letters like real world snail mail letters to other people.
Go ahead.
I'm not saying that I put you up to doing that, but you can.
Add it to a Christmas card. By the way, watch this wonderful video. That would be awesome.
You can subscribe to the channel. What else?
Leave us a comment if you maybe played the game or played the expansion, and let us know what you thought about it.
Or even if you haven't played the game and just want to talk to us.
Yeah, that's totally fine too.
Or
We're
just-
always up for that.
Or just want to say something, but without actually talking to us, just putting something out there. I mean, we're talking about YouTube comment section, so
yeah, go ahead.
if you have something to get off your chest,
yeah, go ahead.
please don't
we'd love
offend
it.
other people if possible. But yeah, feel free, knock yourself out.
Yeah. So that wraps up the video nicely. I should let him do the outro like all the time.
Yeah, it just takes 5 minutes for me to say.
Yeah, and not so many bloopers.
Hey guys, like, subscribe, and no go.
Whatever. I'm gonna see you tomorrow with the new art journal page. You will not be there.
I thought we see each other for the rest of the day as well.
Yeah, we do, but I see them on Monday.
You see them? I see the recording equipment.
I have the vision.
You have some on the matcha.
And there was your German lesson of the day.
Goodbye.
Now you're screwing up. Oh, whew. I'm going to see you tomorrow on the art journal watch along video, and we're going to see you next Sunday on this couch with a new game and hopefully a lot of giggles. So enjoy. Have a great week. Goodbye. Now I'm beautiful with your hand in my face. Let me do the clicky. Is it?